Since last email to Al Jazeera newsroom in Qatar.
Walid Al-Amari, Al Jazeera's Jerusalem bureau chief, talking about the moments before Israeli forces shot dead his colleague on the 11th of May in Jenin. This event brought together the people who lodged a complaint with the International Criminal Court in April on behalf of 4 Palestinian journalists killed or maimed by Israeli fire while clearly identifiable as press. Now they're adding new names to the file. Shireen Abu Akleh, one of the Arab world's best-known reporters, and her colleague Aliyah Samoudi, shot in the back and injured moments before Shireen was hit. One message came through loud and clear at this event: there's no lack of evidence, but there's also new momentum behind calls for international action over Israel's targeting of journalists.
It is a war crime to deliberately target journalists, and it is a war crime to cover up other war crimes. It is to stop and to silence objective reporting on the ground, the documentation of human rights abuse. That's why journalists are targeted, and that's why we say this case is so serious, and the ICC ought to be looking at the targeting of journalists in particular, as opposed to other civilian deaths.
The case is being brought by the International Federation of Journalists, the Palestinian Journalists Syndicate, and the International Centre of Justice for Palestinians. They say last year marked a turning point when the ICC ruled its jurisdiction extended to the occupied Palestinian territory. According to Reporters Without Borders, at least 30 journalists, mostly Palestinians, have been killed by Israeli fire in the West Bank and Gaza since 2000. The Israeli army's never acknowledged any responsibility. How hopeful are you that the ICC can, down the line, achieve any kind of justice for Shireen and other Palestinian journalists, given the fact that Israel is not party to the ICC and given its track record of non-investigation?
Pre-trial chamber ruling is very clear. The ICC's jurisdiction, criminal jurisdiction, extends over the territories that we're speaking about. That means that the ICC prosecutor can issue a warrant for the arrest of perpetrators, and then that has severe consequences for the individual perpetrator, whether they're inside Israel or not.
Al Jazeera is preparing its own dossier, which it'll submit to the ICC. As well as Shireen's killing, it includes the Israeli airstrike in Gaza that destroyed the offices of Al Jazeera and the Associated Press a year ago. On Thursday, the Palestinian Authority says its own investigation had established that Israeli forces deliberately shot Shireen Abu Akleh, hitting her in the head while she was trying to escape. The Israeli media has reported that the military has no plans to launch a criminal investigation. Nadeem Barber, Al Jazeera, London.